Hello and welcome to Spoken English Studies. Today we are going to look at the difference between above and over. As you can see, both words mean when something is higher than something else. And both words can be used as prepositions and adverbs. Let's focus on prepositions first. So, the main difference between above and over is that when we state something is above something else, there is always space in between, and it does not have to be directly above the object. But when we state that something is over something else, we are focusing on the movement and location, and there may or may not be space in between. Let's look at the main differences when they are used as prepositions. So, when we use above, we are focusing on the location, and the location can be either directly above, to the left, or to the right. Also, there must be space in between. So for example, there's a mirror above my desk. My desk is at one point, there is space, and then there is a mirror. We can also use the word over to say there is a mirror higher than my desk. So for example, we can say there is a mirror hanging over my desk. This mirror will be directly over my desk, so it cannot be to the left or to the right. We also use over when something is touching or covering something else. So for example, when my sister fell asleep, I put a blanket over her. The blanket is connected to her, it's touching her, it's keeping her warm. But we cannot say there's a blanket above my sister. Well, we can, but this would mean that my sister is sleeping, for example, and the blanket is above her, maybe hanging from the ceiling, but there would be space in between. So when something is touching or covering another thing, we use over. Also, as I stated before, over looks at movement and location. For example, if we want to focus on the location only, we could say there's a helicopter hovering above the government building. This means that the helicopter is in one location only. But we could also say there is a helicopter that is flying over the government building. This means that the helicopter is not stationary and is moving. So it is going from one side to the other and then probably away. So it flew over the building. We cannot see it anymore. Now let's look at numbers. When we want to talk about numbers, we use over. So for example, I get so many emails per day, over 100. But we could not say, I get so many emails per day, above 100. Now let's look at how the words are used as adverbs. So the main difference when we are using above or over as an adverb is that when we use above, it can be used to show that something or someone is at or going to a higher place. So for example, my friend's name is above mine on the exam list. That simply means that on the list of names, her name is above mine or higher than mine on the list. We also can use above when we are talking about temperature. So, for example, when something is 0 degrees, then we can say, oh, the temperature today is above 0. But if the temperature was 30 degrees, for example, we could say the temperature today is above 20 or over 20. When we are using it in this sense, the words are interchangeable. So we can use either. It is up to you. You can say above 20 or over 20 degrees today. But when it is at 0 degrees, we must say above. Also, when we are showing that somebody is higher, for example, in level or age or number, we can use above. So my manager is above me in the workplace. In the order of our jobs, he is higher than me. He has a higher position. And lastly, we can state that something was written earlier. So for example, if I write a sentence or if I write a factual statement and later on in my written prose, I want to refer back to this statement, I could say, as I stated above, etc., etc. Now let's look at over. So over can talk about movement that happens higher than a person or object. As I stated before, the helicopter flew over the government building. Also, we can use over as a colloquial phrase. So, oh, would you like to come over to mine later? Just simply means to come over to my house. And lastly, we can use the phrase over and over. When we use this phrase, it means repeatedly or many times. And usually it has negative connotations. So if I said to you, oh, I've asked you over and over again to send me the email. Please send it to me. It's very important. It's usually when you've asked someone to do something for you and they have not listened. To finish, I have some example sentences here for you. I could hear someone shouting Gemma from up above. There is a voice shouting. Maybe the person is standing on a balcony and has seen me in the street and wants to get my attention. But they are above me and there is space in between. The next one, I love to lay down and look at the clouds above when it is warm and sunny. As you can see from the picture, the clouds are above us. We cannot touch them. Next one, a score of 60 or above means you will pass the test. So you know you have to get 60 or 61, 62, etc. And as I mentioned earlier, as was stated above, when we are writing about something and we want to refer back to an earlier statement. Now let's look at the examples for over. If you want, you can try and say them with me or say them by yourselves. So, number one, we were sitting on the beach and a huge flock of exotic birds flew over. It was amazing. Again, we are focusing on the movement. The birds are not stationary, they are flying. We cannot see them anymore. The second one, would you like to come over next week and have dinner with me? As I stated, would you like to come over to my house? Would you like to meet me at my house? And lastly, stop it. I have told you over and over not to keep switching TV channels. Give me back the remote. So when you are angry at someone, when they have annoyed you a little bit and they will not stop doing what you've asked them to stop doing. So you can say, oh, I've asked you so many times or over and over again. Okay, thank you for your time. As usual, if you like my video, please press the like button, give me a comment, or if you have any questions, contact me. And remember to subscribe. There will be more videos next week.